Herman Herbent and Agatha crumpled at the bus stop waiting for the last bus. Both felt a little awkward. The previous conversation had been very difficult for both of them. "My bus will be arriving soon, and I'm going home. So you can go about your business. You don't need to see me off," said Agatha. Herman noticed that the girl was shyly looking at him. Her eyes were constantly downcast to the floor. "Okay, just be careful," asked Herman. At last, the bus Agatha wanted came up. The girl rushed toward it, but Herman stopped her by grabbing her arm. "And what are you doing? Why are you stopping me?" Agatha asked, surprised. "Because I feel I need to clear up a misunderstanding that has arisen between us. I remember I once said that you should write your manuscripts all the time, but I'm not sure you understood correctly what I was trying to convey to you. I really care about getting manuscripts out on time, but I also care about you and your problems. I want you to enjoy your work. I don't want you to think I'm pressuring you about the manuscript. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that a long time ago, I made you a promise that if there was a place you couldn't go on your own, I would go with you. I still haven't kept that promise. By the way, I'm free this weekend, so if you want, we can go somewhere." Herman hoped that if he went out with Agatha this weekend, he would change her opinion of him. He wanted to be better in the girl's eyes. "But didn't you tell me not to write to you anymore because you're busy? What's different now?" Agatha wondered. "I have no problem working overtime, so that's fine. I can make time for you." Herman tried to remember when he'd told the girl not to text him, but he was having no luck. Maybe she was confusing things? "You're working overtime even on your days off? Geez, Principal Gearbent, you're taking these manuscripts too seriously," Agatha exclaimed. The girl was a little different. She didn't like overtime. "Director, you're working so hard to help me, so I'll try not to get distracted. I don't want to let you down. I will definitely turn in the manuscript on time." "I'll fulfill my promise, too. This weekend we'll go wherever you want to go. Let's you pick a place you've never been," suggested Herman to the girl. "Great. Then we'll go to the water park," Agatha answered him. "We'll go anywhere but the water park." Herman disliked water and everything about it. "But it's a place I'll never go to alone. It is with you that I will feel comfortable there." Agatha explained her choice. "I meant that you have to think of a place to go out with you," said Herman. "On a date?" Agatha asked, surprised. "No, I meant pick a place that's easy to find. I suggest we go somewhere where there won't be many people and it's fairly quiet." Herman clutched his head. All this conversation was making his temples ache. "Okay, I've got an idea," the girl exclaimed hotly. "Sorry I'm late. I had some things to take care of and I stopped by the office for a bit. I guess I kept you waiting," said Herman as he approached. "Did you stop by the office even though it's your day off? If you're busy, we can go with you next time," Agatha suggested. "I've already taken care of everything. Please don't worry about it. I promised you that we'd go, and I'll keep my promise. By the way, it's been a long time since I've been to a place like this, so I'm even looking forward to it a little. Spending the weekend like this is very uplifting," replied Herman. "To think he's so busy he has to come into the office on the weekends, but he's willing to go with me for a new manuscript. Doing all that for a book is a real passion. I need to follow his example," Agatha thought enthusiastically. "Before making my reservation, I looked up information on the internet and chose a romantic movie. I write in the same genre, so this movie has me extremely interested." Agatha pointed her finger at the poster of another melodrama. "She's wanted to go to the movie theater for a long time, so we came here. But why couldn't she have come here herself? If she's interested in the plot of this movie, she could have just read it on the internet," thought to himself Herman. Agatha led Herman to the reserved seat. The girl explained that when she went to the theater's website, there were only seats left for couples. "She didn't do it on purpose, did she? I don't think she would do that on purpose." It went through Herman's mind. When in the middle of the movie, Herman glanced at the girl to see if she liked what was happening on the screen. He saw that she was sound asleep. Herman was careful not to wake the girl and drew her to him. He let her rest comfortably on his shoulder. I just covered my eyes for a second, and the movie ended immediately. It was a very dramatic and tragic story. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was dozing off. Agatha said with a smile. That's okay. You must be tired. It could happen to anyone. But honestly, I thought you were going to analyze the movie or something. Herman muttered in a disgruntled voice. That's not really true. In fact, the girl started to say, but would falter here. She didn't know how to get her point across to the principal properly. I figured it out. You just wanted to go on a steamy date. You went to the movies because you hadn't been here in years. Most likely the last time you went to the movie theater was with your childhood friend. Just admit to him that you dream of going to the movies with him. I know I've said this a few times already, but you need to become famous for him to see you in a new light. If it's that hard for you, then just tell him how you feel. Who knows? Maybe he'll accept them. Principal Gearbent, your connection to reality is more questionable than I thought. Agatha's mind raced. Director, beautiful people like you won't understand. Do you really think a pretty guy will ever like an unattractive girl who only knows how to write novels? Lowering her head low, Agatha asked, Did you know that he told me recently that he was being kind simply because my parents asked him to? Agatha gently removed a fallen eyelash from her cheek. Herman noted to himself that Agatha was actually quite pretty. The only problem was that the girl didn't like to dress up and put on makeup. She also needed to gain confidence. Well, there is no other way out. I have to help you. I will help you look good in front of your childhood friend. Together we can turn his attention to you. Herman promised the girl. What makes you suddenly decide to help me? Agatha wondered. The thing is, if you keep working in that state of mind, it will negatively affect the result, Herman explained. Principal Gearbent, didn't you say you hated meddling in other people's love affairs and wouldn't do it a second time? Agatha asked. As I said before, getting a good manuscript is my main concern. Herman was surprised that the girl was very good at memorizing certain things and details. I'd like to point out that when you take off your glasses, makeup, and dress up, you look quite good. I'm going to help you find faith in yourself. But I'll have one condition, Herman warned. I'll help you fix your relationship with your childhood friend, and in return, you'll come with me to all of my mother's appointments. I promise it won't happen often. All you have to do is be there for me. I'll do everything I can to avoid these encounters if possible. And I'll help you, and you'll help me. We'll play the roles we need to play. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in an awkward situation again. Do you really want me to sit around listening to your mother say nasty things about me again? Agatha exclaimed. Lately, I feel like the more we talk, the less she trusts me. But I came here for a reason. I need to get my way. I didn't watch a boring movie about a love affair for nothing, did I? Herman thought to himself irritably. You said my mother made you feel uncomfortable. The reason my mother was like that is because she is against our wedding. Herman said calmly. He decided to accomplish what he wanted with a soft attitude. I introduced you as the woman I was dating because she was forcing me to get married. Most likely my mother thought we were dating you with the intention of getting married. It's even to my advantage that my mother didn't like you. If we keep pretending to date, I'll buy some time. If I keep following my mother's rules, I'll have less time to be your prototype. I really wanted to help you, but since you refuse, I won't insist. If you don't want to play the role of my girlfriend, then there's nothing I can do to help you. I think it would be quite difficult for me in such a role. That's why I think you should look for another woman. I'm sure there will be people who will agree to help you. Lowering her eyes to the floor, Agatha said, But you're the only one for me. You played the role of the villain just fine. It is unlikely that anyone else will succeed in arousing such negative emotions in my mother, said Herman to the girl. I don't even know what to tell you about that. The girl hesitated. Agatha, is that you? I also decided to visit the movie theater today. I didn't expect to see you here. Who's that with you? Diana exclaimed loudly as she approached. Oh, I hope I'm not interrupting your date. I'm here to watch a movie too. said Diana, leaning over to Herman. You said you were going to the bathroom. Then what are you doing here? Come on, let's hurry up. The movie's about to start. Bert came over to the table. He looked at Agatha sitting at the table in surprise. Agatha, did you decide to watch a movie tonight too? Bert asked the girl. Agatha answered him that they had already seen the movie. Agatha blushed profusely, embarrassed that Bert had seen her in the company of Director Gerbant. She was also upset that Bert had come to the theater with Diana. I met Miss Shiverton by chance at the movie theater, and I offered her a cup of coffee. And it just so happened that she chose the same movie I did, Herman explained. Miss Shiverton chose melodrama because they write in that genre. I, on the other hand, just like romantic movies. By the way, that melodrama we just watched was pretty good. Miss Shiverton, I hope your next novella will be better than the last one, since you've decided to take this movie as a reference point, said Herman to the girl. Agatha was extremely indignant. Her past novella had been good enough, too. Wasn't your main character a little flat for you to make that claim? Herman asked with a smirk. As the movie was announced, Bert and Diane had to head to the auditorium. Is it just me, or is this guy a little strange? This is the first time I've seen a young man who likes romantic movies and comes to see them at the theater on purpose, Bert said thoughtfully. I don't understand what's wrong. For example, I like martial arts movies. Isn't this guy the director of a publishing company? I think his publishing house puts out quite a few romance books. Shrugging her shoulders, Diana said, I have the impression I've seen this principal somewhere before. Squinting his eyes, Bert said. The boy tried to strain his memory. Right, I remembered him. His hair was slicked back then, that's why I didn't recognize him at once, Bert exclaimed. Thank you for giving me a ride home. Today was a very rewarding day. I'll keep it in my mind as I write my manuscript, said Agatha to Herman. I told you I could be useful. By the way, if Bert calls you, be sure to let me know. I wonder what Principal Gerbant meant when he said Bert could call me, Agatha thought as she wiped her head with a towel. Suddenly she heard the phone in her room. Agatha got a message from Bert. He wanted to talk to her. Herman heard the phone go off on his desk at work. It happened just like you said it would. You said to let you know if Bert called me. Well, he did, shouted Agatha into the receiver. So you talked to him? I knew this would happen, but I didn't expect him to act so quickly. I know you said to call me as soon as Bert showed up, but I didn't expect you to bother me at this late hour, grumbled Herman. Half an hour ago, Bert had called Agatha and asked her if she could help him pick out a book. Do you really want to go to the bookstore with me and pick out a book? Agatha clarified. She had absolutely not expected such a turn of events, so she was extremely surprised. Bert and Agatha agreed that they would go bookstore shopping next week. I'm late. I'm sorry about that, said a panting Agatha. That's okay. I didn't wait long for you. Look, I haven't had lunch yet. Are you hungry? Why don't we get something to eat first? Suggested Bert to the girl. I read the synopsis you sent us, said Kimberly to the writer sitting across from her. I asked to meet with you today because I wanted to know if you would like to collaborate with us next month. I sent you the synopsis because you asked for it. As for our collaboration, I'm still undecided, the writer admitted, averting his eyes to the side. I read your synopsis, too. I'm a fan of your work. I have reread your previous novel several times. As someone who was deeply impressed with your past novel, let me give you my opinion, said Herman. After reading your synopsis, I think you emphasized the dramatic elements. You were able to spell out more natural dialogue and harmony in your past work. I'm sure it will be the same this time around. If you agree to sign with our publisher, we will do everything in our power to support you in the creation of your new work. As a fan of your work, I want to read your next novel first. Well, since you insist, I'll renew my contract with you. Crossing his arms over his chest in a disgruntled tone, the writer said, How glad I am that he listened to you. I was afraid that this popular writer would leave for another publisher. I still can't believe you managed to convince him after all. Kimberly admitted. Herman's cell phone received a message from Agatha. The girl wrote that she was going on a date with Bert. Right. She said they were going to the bookstore together today. By the way, it's been a long time since I bought myself a new book. Herman thought to himself as he read the message. "Oh, this is delicious!" Agatha exclaimed and sent another piece of meat into her mouth. "I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing and ended up asking her to come over without thinking. I should have asked you about it first," said Bert to the girl. Agatha assured him that it was okay. She wasn't offended. "Thank you, because I really don't like it when things are awkward between us. By the way, this restaurant was recommended to me by Diana. She brought me here and treated me to dinner as an apology for the other day. She also asked me to apologize to you." "Hold on a minute. Diana's calling me. I'll answer it and get back to you," said Bert and got up from the table. Agatha's cell phone also rang. It was a message from Herman. "I remember the principal saying he'd help me gain some confidence. When Bert and I go to the bookstore, I'll give him a great recommendation." Agatha decided for herself. "I'm sorry I kept you waiting. I told Diane we were going out to eat and passed out as fast as I could. By the way, she asked for your phone number," said Bert, returning to the table. Herman guessed that this was the restaurant where Bert and Agatha would be dining. He decided to watch the couple for a while. A waitress came up to Herman and told him that their restaurant had a policy that each table was reserved for 2 or more people. The man could not believe that there were still establishments with such a policy in their city. "If it takes 2 or more people, I can just order food for like 2 people. Am I understanding correctly? Bring me 2 servings," asked the girl Herman. Sometime later, Herman rose heavily from the table. He felt as if he had had enough for a week. The man noticed that Bert and Agatha had also decided to leave the restaurant. Agatha invited Bert to the candy shop. The girl decided to treat him to a dessert as a token of her gratitude for lunch. "Why don't you promise me that if you get bored, you'll dial me?" asked Bert of the girl. "That's a wonderful idea," Agatha murmured, looking Bert in the eye. "How much can we eat? When are they going to go bookstore shopping? And what am I doing on my lunch hour? Is this normal?" Herman thought with annoyance as he watched the couple from around the corner. Herman decided to go back to the office. He was sure that Agatha would handle this date on his own. Enough of worrying about her already. "Listen, I just remembered. Didn't we say we'd go book shopping with you tonight? If we hurry up and go right now, we can get you a book for tonight before the store closes," Agatha exclaimed. "Do you still want to go to the bookstore? Why don't you send me a message with a list of your recommendations? My bag is heavy as it is, so I won't be able to buy a book anyway," replied Bert to the girl. "I just got off work. It was so hot outside, I wanted something refreshing. I didn't expect to meet you in a place like this." Herman approached the table. "I'm sorry if I interrupted your date, Miss Shiverton. We're not having a date, just a friendly chat. We agreed to go bookstore shopping tonight," Agatha told me. "Really? And I was just about to go to the bookstore too. It's decided. We'll go together." "Since this book has food on the cover, it's probably about food wars," Agatha exclaimed. She really wanted to help Bert pick out a book, but she didn't know anything about the sci-fi and action genres he liked so much. "This book is published by my company. It tells the story of an idol. In this novel, the writer described ordinary people who went beyond the ordinary and became a cosmic group. By the way, the author of this book is madly fond of donuts," narrated Herman. "If you are fascinated by a story about ordinary people who accomplish their goals, you will definitely enjoy this book," said Herman to Bert. Agatha wanted to join their conversation, but unfortunately she didn't know anything about the book or the author. "I suddenly remembered that I wanted to discuss something with you about work. Let's step back with you for a moment." Agatha grabbed Herman by the arm and led him away from Bert. "I'm sorry to say this. I appreciate you helping me pick out a book, but you're getting in my way a little. You don't give me a chance to socialize with Bert. You're always getting in my way. It's hard to call that help." I was really hoping that when I came to the bookstore, I would be the one to tell Bert about the contents of the books. I planned to have a fruitful conversation with him. Looking at the girl, Herman noticed that she looked a little different. Something had changed in her appearance. "You're wearing makeup," Herman guessed. "I only applied a little bit of lipstick. I didn't expect it to be so noticeable. You told me the other day that if my makeup was too bright, it wouldn't go with my modest clothes. I want to point out that the color of that lipstick suits you very well. Leaning toward the girl, Herman whispered. Agatha felt embarrassed that the principal was so close to her. To hide her embarrassment, Agatha hurried to the ladies' room. I came to this bookstore with her, so why is she spending time with this old man? My first impression of him wasn't good, so I don't like him coming with us. Bert thought to himself. Exhausting, isn't it? Asked Herman, walking up to Bert. The boy raised an eyebrow in surprise. He did not understand what Herman was talking about. Looking at you, I can tell you're not the kind of person who usually goes to bookstores. Everything looks like you were forced to come here. Herman explained his words. I just came here to get my friend, that's all, replied Bert. Apparently, you are close to Miss Shiverton. Your hobbies don't match at all, but you went with her to this place you don't like. Do you know about the book she published? Do you know what it says and what its title is? Asked Herman. I put on makeup for Bert, but he absolutely didn't notice it. I even wondered if it was the right color for me. To think I got a compliment from Principal Garbent. Agatha decided to update the lipstick on her lips. I knew coming here was a good idea. I bought some books while we were here, and I can't wait to read them already. Agatha exclaimed tightly, clutching the books she had bought. I saw that you bought something for yourself, too. What books did you choose? Agatha asked Bert. I won't tell you. It's a secret. Bert answered the girl and hurried to his bus. Bye. See you later, said Bert goodbye. My bus will be here soon, too, so I'll walk slowly, said Agatha to Herman. Don't you want to have dinner together? Herman asked. Thanks, but I'm not hungry, replied the girl. I'm not hungry either, but I'd like some barbecue. Turns out in our town you only have to go to restaurants like this as a couple. I won't be able to eat by myself, said Herman to the girl. Agatha didn't want to refuse the director, so she went with him to the restaurant. Miss Shiverton, would you like a drink? Asked Herman, pouring a drink into his glass. To be honest, I'm not good with alcohol. I only drink beer and then in small quantities, Agatha admitted. Director Garbent, I've been wanting to tell you for a long time. Lately you've started to remind me of my father. If you meet, you will definitely become friends. Agatha suddenly blurted out, which surprised Herman. See, when I picture a bad guy, I see a leather car interior, expensive liquor, and a penthouse with ceiling-to-floor windows. Right now, you're just being friendly. Talking to you, I realize that you're completely different from what I thought you were in the beginning. You're actually warm, and I like that. So you're disappointed in me? Herman asked, and drank another shot of vodka. I didn't mean to offend you with my words. On the contrary, I wanted to compliment you. By the way, how do you manage to drink so much without getting drunk? Agatha asked, watching Herman tipping another shot into his mouth. Agatha decided to follow the headmaster's example, so she quickly gulped down a shot of the alcoholic beverage. How embarrassed I am in front of him right now. I wanted to compliment him, but I only created an awkward situation. My words clearly hurt the principal. Wouldn't it be better to get a little drunk? Keep him company, so to speak? Agatha thought. I wouldn't recommend you drink much unless you're friendly with liquor. Herman did not allow the girl to drink another shot. Have you thought about what might happen to you if you get drunk? What could happen to me? You're right next to me. Agatha could see that Herman was upset about something. He was clearly unhappy with their conversation. When they left the restaurant, Herman called a cab for the girl. He also took off his jacket and threw it over her shoulders. I did get intoxicated from just one drink. It's a good thing the principal forbade me to drink. But why is my face burning so much? I wonder if it's because of the alcohol or because the principal gave me his jacket. The girl thought to herself. Are you all right? Your face is too red. Herman walked over to Agatha and touched her forehead. Did you manage to get drunk after all? Herman squatted down opposite the girl. I want to tell you one thing. Today, Bert suggested that I call him when I'm bored, so I've decided that he will accompany me everywhere I go. You won't have to give me your time anymore. Agatha lowered her head in embarrassment. I know you're very busy, and it's extremely hard for you to go to movie theaters and cafes with me. I don't want to be a burden to you. Agatha, you should only spend your private time with people you are most comfortable with. If you are comfortable with your friend, then why not? Said Herman and rose to his feet. Wait, but my saying that doesn't mean I'll never ask you for help again. Agatha gripped Herman's hand tightly. I think it would be better for the manuscript if I got to spend more time with the person who makes my heart beat. It makes me want to keep communicating with you. I can rely on you for that, can't I? I've been thinking a lot about what you said earlier. Why did you suddenly decide that nothing would happen to you if you got drunk when you were around me? Herman carefully removed his glasses from the girl's face. The protagonist of the novel you're writing right now is a bad guy, but I think you're starting to forget that I'm his prototype. Do you want to see the real bad guy? Herman began to slowly pull off his tie. What did he just say? See a real bad guy? What is he talking about now? I don't think we should continue, but I'm very curious. Agatha thought to herself. Suddenly, Herman bent in half and clutched his head. The girl was extremely annoyed by this behavior. She was anxious to see the continuation. I'm a little dizzy. I'll sit here for a minute, Herman said and sat down beside the girl. I'm very sorry for my inappropriate behavior. I don't usually drink that much. I thought it would be okay since I was drinking on a full stomach. It's been a long time since I've gotten that drunk. I drank more than I should have. Don't worry, it's all right, the girl assured Herman. I don't understand the situation at all. Today is some kind of wrong day, and yet you said those words. Herman muttered. Can't we just stop doing all this? And if you don't understand how you got yourself into this situation, you can just get out of it, Agatha said in an offended voice. She felt like the director was only talking to her because she was afraid she wouldn't turn in the manuscript by the deadline. I don't understand at all why you're helping me so much, after all. I'm just a writer. There's nothing outstanding about me. Why did you only agree to be my prototype? Is it really because I can't write a second book yet? I believe that my first book became famous completely by accident. You think my next novel will be just awful. Now I understand why you are anxious to help me. I've changed my mind. I want to write a novel without any prototypes. Then you won't have to date me and feel bad about having absolutely no time for me. Miss Shiverton, who told you were a bad writer? I would never have thought so, Herman exclaimed. Agatha brushed the first tears from her face. You made it obvious yourself. I could see in your face that you didn't want to have dinner with me. It was extremely tedious for you, so I decided that I would write by myself. Crying bitterly, Agatha said, Thanks to all those words, I now know exactly what you think of me, Herman said in a quiet voice. He did not fully realize whether he was glad that the girl had decided to write a novel on her own, without his help, or not. Miss Shiverton, you've got it completely wrong. I invited you to dinner because I wanted to show you friendliness. Yes, I can be cold at times, but it's not my main character trait. I really, with all my heart, want to help you. To be honest, I was hurt that you compared me to your father. I never realized you didn't see me as a man. Turns out I'm your father's friend to you. That's not entirely true. To be blunt, I'm still not sure what a bad guy is supposed to be like. I just told you that you turned out to be kinder than I expected. I just want to remind you that when you're around, my heart beats faster, Agatha confessed. In speaking of my father, I meant no offense. On the contrary, I wanted to praise you in that way. Since Agatha saw that her words could not change Herman's mind, she hugged him tightly. You feel it too. Your heart beats more often, like the heroes in my novels, the girl exclaimed. Suddenly, Herman pressed Agatha against him. You once told me you didn't know what a bad guy should be like. Will you give me another opportunity to prove myself as your prototype? But in return, you'll have to tell me straight up what you want me to do to you. Actually, I don't know what kind of bad guy you envision yourself to be. Herman stroked the girl's chin with his thumb. Agatha wanted to kiss Herman, but accidentally bumped her forehead against his chin. What makes you decide to fight all of a sudden? Herman marveled. The girl had to confess that she had decided to kiss him, But because she was drunk, she had double vision. Herman took the glasses off the girl's face again. He kissed the girl passionately on the lips. "What are you doing now?" Scared Agatha shouted and pushed Herman away from her. "But you told me yourself you wanted to kiss me. I'll just honor your request," replied Herman. "It was just drunken ramblings." The girl began to justify herself. "Wait, you were the one who told me just now that when you see me, it gives you inspiration, and your heart starts beating a lot. I feel like you're trying to trick me. I'd like to point out that you're absolutely no good at lying." "I'm not trying to trick you. It's just that I don't know why certain phrases are coming out of my mouth myself," the girl muttered. "Now do you realize what a bad boy you need?" Herman asked, and kissed the girl on the top of her head. "Tell me your desires, what kind of man you'd like to have by your side. That's the only way I can become your prototype," asked Herman. "I don't think I should tell you about it right now. I feel like I'd be saying a lot of unnecessary things at this point. Let's revisit the subject when I'm sober," Agatha asked. "And I like it even better that way, because you'll be more honest that way. Please tell me what you want me to do," whispered in the girl's ear Herman. "To be honest, this conversation is making me red in the face. We shouldn't be having this conversation since we're both drunk," Agatha said, embarrassed. Herman took his jacket from the bench and put it on himself. "Forgive me, I was out of line. But on the other hand, it will serve you a lesson. You shouldn't get drunk with a man, even if you know him well. Try to make sure you never drink more than your limit." "Hello, Principal Gearbent. You're just in time. I have something to tell you. Are you all right?" "You look paler than usual today," Kimberly said in a surprised voice. "Yeah, I'm fine. What did you want to tell me?" Herman asked the editor. "You didn't come back to the office yesterday, so I put the bills on your desk. Apparently you had some kind of important meeting since you came in after later than usual today," Kimberly said thoughtfully. "Miss Swan, you wanted to tell me something," Herman reminded the girl. He was extremely angry tonight. He was ashamed of his behavior the previous evening. He wondered what Agatha thought about it. Agatha was absorbed in writing her novel. She decided to transfer the events of the previous evening to the pages of her new book. I still can't believe that the principal and I kissed after all. I'm so embarrassed I want to die. How am I going to look him in the eye now? Why did he just kiss me? And it was my first kiss. Looking at the principal's behavior, I can deduce that he had similar experiences with girls. It was definitely not his first kiss, but on the other hand, I can't complain. The director was just fulfilling his duties as my model. I should probably go deeper into my work to forget about this unfortunate evening. A week passed, but Herman and Agatha did not even write a word to each other. Each pretended to be absorbed in his work. Agatha decided to have a little fun, so she went to a nearby cafe. She sat down in front of the window to watch the people passing by. Everyone was preoccupied with their own thoughts and hurried about their business. "Make me an Americano, please," the blonde guy asked the barista. "That's him. What's he doing here?" Agatha wondered to herself. Agatha decided to go home, but accidentally bumped into a blonde-haired guy. Startled, he poured coffee on himself. "It's definitely Brett. There's no doubt about it." Agatha's mind raced. Agatha hurried to fetch a wet towel to wipe the stain, but Bert stopped her. "Don't worry about the stain. Look, I buttoned my jacket and you can barely see anything. In fact, it's my fault for sneaking up on you unnoticed. To be honest, I didn't expect to see you here. What are you doing in this cafe? You probably live somewhere nearby?" Bert asked. Since Agatha was dressed up again, he didn't recognize her. "I'm having an interview nearby. Since I had a minute to spare, I thought I'd drop in here for a coffee and a little snack. Now I'm a little worried about my tie, if it's going to be okay." "I know you can get a tie at convenience stores," Agatha exclaimed and decided to go shopping for a new tie, but Bert stopped her again. "I was kidding, it's okay," Bert said in a soft voice. "Well, what if you suddenly get penalized for showing up to an interview in ruined clothes? I feel guilty." Embarrassed, Agatha flew by. "If it really bothers you that much, give me your phone number," Bert asked. "Excuse me, Principal, but I need to respond to my girlfriend's message." You see, we had a lot of fights with her because I didn't respond to her messages in time, complained Herman to his secretary. Even though she realizes we can't see each other often because I'm busy, she says she gets anxious when we're not in touch. As Herman and his secretary walked past the new dessert store, they saw a large line. Although this store has only recently opened, it has become quite popular with the people in our town. I think we can buy some desserts and treat everyone at the next meeting, suggested the secretary to Herman. Herman and his secretary came out of the store with large bags filled with desserts. Principal Gearbent, I noticed you picked up some desserts for yourself as well. You probably want to share them with your girlfriend? The secretary asked. No, I'm selfish. I'll eat it all myself. In a disgruntled voice, Herman answered him. He was tired of hearing about his secretary's relationships. Suddenly, Herman saw Agatha and Bert sitting at the same table in the cafe across from the dessert store. I can't give you my phone number, but I remembered I have a tie in my bag. I can give it to you. Agatha pulled the box containing the tie out of her bag. Bert didn't recognize the tie, because on the same day, Agatha had changed the tie she had bought earlier for a tie with a different pattern. The guy still didn't know that they had bought the tie for him that day. If Diana hadn't been with them then, things would have turned out a little differently. Wait, about that tie, Bert started to say, but suddenly Agatha jumped up from her seat and ran away. If she was going to be in the office area today, she might as well have contacted me. Besides, why is she dressed up like that today? Herman thought to himself irritably. She probably dressed up again for her friend. I think she decided to cheer him up before the interview. But why does it hurt me so much? Why am I offended that she's not dressing up for me? Agatha wrote a message to Herman after all. They had not seen each other for over a week, and it was very unusual. Agatha was used to Herman's constant texting and controlling her. The girl waited a few minutes, but Herman never answered her message. Of course he won't answer me since it's Friday night. He probably has some plans, Agatha thought. The girl's heart was filled with longing. When the meeting was over, Herman decided to look at his phone. It turned out that Agatha had sent him a message about half an hour ago. The girl asked him to meet her. I've been watching you for a while, and I got the impression you were upset about something. What are you doing outside this office? Do you work in this building? Asked Agatha as an unfamiliar guy approached. What does he mean? Maybe I look like I'm following someone? I just came here to wait for the end of the workday. I wanted to see the principal, Agatha thought to herself. Herman cleared his throat loudly. The stranger glared at the enraged Herman and hurried out of his sight. Hey, did you just get off work? Agatha asked with a smile. You texted me to tell me something. I'm listening to you, Herman said in an emotionless voice. You see, I happened to be passing by, so I thought I'd see you, the girl admitted. Did you really pass by here by accident? Or were you actually going to meet someone nearby so you ended up here? Herman asked incredulously. I'm telling the truth. I was just taking a walk and came in here. When I saw the publishing company building, I immediately thought of you. You're working so hard, so I thought I'd buy you dinner. I have plans tonight, so I can't have dinner with you. But since you came all this way, I'll give you a ride home, said Herman to the girl, and headed for his car. Agatha was surprised that Herman decided to give her a ride. She had not expected him to show such concern. You must be really busy lately. I appreciate you giving me a ride home. Since Agatha and Herman were alone in the car, the girl decided it was the perfect time to talk. That's because I have a little time left before my friend finishes work, and your house is on the way, so it didn't cause any difficulty, explained Herman to the girl. Since you want to have dinner with your friend, then take me with you, Agatha asked. I beg your pardon? Herman wondered. You asked me to pretend to be your girlfriend, right? If this meeting is for the same reason, then take me with you. You've often helped me, so I want to return your kindness too. Forget about how I acted last time. I'll act differently now. I don't need this. Besides, last time you said you hated being embarrassed. I don't want to make anyone do anything they don't want to do, said Herman, looking out the window. Agatha snuggled up to Herman and kissed his cheek. Miss Shiverton, what are you doing? Are you drunk again? Herman asked fearfully. What about the other night? You're the one who told me what a bad guy should look like and kissed me. Now I want to prove to you that I'm good at playing the villain. I've been practicing a little, reading a few books and watching a couple of movies. Why can you be bad but forbid me? Agatha asked and unraveled her hair. Suddenly, Herman realized that he enjoyed exploring this undiscovered side of Agatha that no one else could see. Herman drew the girl to him and kissed her passionately on the lips. Suddenly, he realized how much he missed her. All this time, Herman had been angry and annoyed because he was jealous of Agatha. He wished she were a villain, only near him. So, are you going to take me with you? Agatha asked. I told you once before that you don't have to dress up like that for me. I like you in normal clothes. Why are you wearing that dress and makeup today? Is it to meet your friend? Herman inquired of the girl. Only you know about this side of me. Bert isn't interested in me when I'm dressed like normal. The best part is, when I look like this, he doesn't even realize it's me. And at the cafe, he and I met by chance. Agatha said with sadness in her voice. Then promise me you won't show that part of yourself to anyone but me. By the way, I'll agree to take you to dinner with a friend. Herman tucked the girl's hair behind her ear. I wanted to meet you because I'm interested in your friend. I know I previously refused, but I think differently now. Yes, he's strange and arrogant and a big workaholic, but he's suitable for marriage, said Inessa to Darren. But I told you the other day that it's too late. My buddy already has a girlfriend, Darren said in a doomed tone. He was no longer happy about the fact that he had once long ago wanted to set Inessa up with his friend Herman. Hello, everyone. My name is Agatha. I am a woman who is dating a man near me. Agatha introduced herself. Why are you talking so formally? Please relax. Everyone here is friendly, Darren said and poured wine into glasses. Listen, there's such delicious meat here. You should definitely try it. Playing the role of a girl, Agatha held out a piece of meat to Herman. The people sitting at the table quieted down a bit. No one had expected such behavior from Agatha. I thought he was a horrible person, but the more I watch, the better I think he is. I'm sure I'll easily take him away from his girlfriend. Even though she's dressed up, I can feel her awkwardness. I look more winning, Inessa thought to herself. Your name is Agatha. Am I remembering correctly? I can see that you spent a lot of effort and time dressing up today, but your bag and dress don't match. You need to reconsider those elements of your closet, said Inessa to Agatha. Oh, my bag is really eye-catching. The thing is, it's very handy. It holds a lot more than you'd think. Lately, I've been carrying my laptop in it since I work on the go, Agatha admitted with a smile on her face. I hear you're a writer. When do you find time for romantic relationships? I think writing books is a pretty hard thing to do. Writers are pretty weird. They rarely care about their appearance. Your lipstick's smudged. Inessa, what's wrong with you today? Why are you acting so aggressively? Asked Darren to the girl. Damn, this is embarrassing. Did I really come in here with smeared lipstick? What will Herman's friend think of me? Agatha hurriedly wiped the remnants of lipstick off her face. It's probably because of what happened earlier. It's completely my fault. Look at me. I might have traces of your lipstick on my face, too. Herman gently touched the girl's face. I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. Even if your lipstick is a little smudged, you're still beautiful. As an apology, I'll buy you a new lipstick afterwards. Your fake girlfriend seems to be giving you a lot of trouble. There's no need to go on with this whole spectacle. You're totally unsuited for each other, Inessa said in a sarcastic tone. And don't look at me with those surprised eyes. I know all about your relationship. Just recently, someone tried to set me up with you on a blind date. To be honest, I came here to see if you and I could date. It's sad that your pseudo-girlfriend is acting so pathetic. I would have done much better. Inessa slowly ran her foot down Herman's leg. Choose me. I'm sure I'll play the role of your partner better than this woman. If you need me to, I'll even agree to marry you. It will never happen. Herman can't marry someone he doesn't even know. And just so you know, He's been married to his job for a long time. Also, more importantly, he's too good for you. Agatha exclaimed, snuggling up to Herman. Look, I told you not to drink anymore. Why did you drink that wine? Does your head still hurt? Herman asked as they pulled up to Agatha's house. I'm sorry, I didn't help you at all today. I wanted to leave a lasting impression of an elegant and cool girl in the eyes of your friends, Agatha said in a sad voice. You did pretty well today. I was impressed with how enthusiastically you portrayed my girlfriend in such a difficult situation. And to be honest, I was surprised at how defensive you were in your verbal battle with that woman. It looked really good from the outside. I didn't expect you to feed me from a fork and call me by name at all. Now I'm grateful that you're the one who played the part of my girlfriend. By the way, do you have time this weekend? I want to buy you a lipstick as a token of my appreciation. That's it, Miss Shiverton. We're here. You can come out now. Shouldn't you be walked home? Can you walk by yourself? Herman asked the girl, peering through the open back door of the car. I don't want to, Agatha whispered. What don't you want? Asked Herman, taking a seat next to the girl in the back seat. I don't want to go home. The thing is, my eyes are still blurry. If I walk into the apartment like this, my parents will immediately realize I'm drunk, and I don't think they'd like that. Then you can rest in the car. It's a little stuffy in here, so I'll stay outside. Herman tried to get out of the car, but Agatha stopped him by taking his arm. You can't leave. Although it's getting warmer already, the nights are still cold. I don't think I should stay in your car. It's too late. You're tired, and it's time for you to go home. And to be completely honest, I want you to hang out with me. I haven't seen you in over a week. I don't want to let you go after only being with you for a couple hours, mumbled the girl, snuggling against Herman's chest. Herman carried Agatha into the hotel room and laid her gently on the bed. I brought her here to rest, but that doesn't mean I have to stay in the same room with her. I can text her and just wait for her in the car. Herman thought to himself. As he stepped out into the hallway, he saw some drunk man banging on the doors of every hotel room. He was very drunk, so he probably didn't remember where he was staying. Herman returned to the room and sat down on the couch next to the bed. He couldn't leave the girl alone in the room when a debauchee was raging outside the door. To cool down a bit and get his thoughts in order, Herman decided to take a shower. When Herman returned to the room, he saw Agatha sitting on the bed. Oh, are you awake? If you want, you can sleep a little more. If you don't remember, you told me you had a bad headache, so I brought you here. I paid for the night, figuring in case you needed more time. You can rest as long as you want. Suddenly, Agatha drew Herman to her and hugged her tightly. And I had already decided that you had gone away, leaving me alone, exclaimed the girl. She laid her head on Herman's shoulder and fell soundly asleep. Apparently there's nothing we can do about it. Perhaps we can lie like this for a few minutes. This is the first time I've seen her so close. She's changed a lot since I first saw her, but on the whole, she always looks nice. Herman scrutinized the girl's face. I guess I like absolutely everything about her. I never thought I could feel this way about a girl. The next morning, Agatha tried to slip out of the room unnoticed, but accidentally ran into Herman on the doorstep of the room. It seems there's even free food and drink delivery to the room here. We still have time before we leave, so let's have breakfast together. Herman suggested to the girl and put a bag of food on the table. Did I really sleep in this room tonight with Principal Gerbant? Agatha thought to herself fearfully. Look, explain to me why I'm in this robe right now. What happened this night? Agatha asked in a loud voice. She was scared to even think about what might have happened to her while she was drunk. Last night you said you were thirsty, and when I brought you water, you refused. When I tried to get you drunk, your clothes got wet, so I had to change you into a robe. In a calm voice, Herman explained to the girl. What do you mean you had to change me? So you saw me? Startled Agatha. Don't worry, it was dark, so I couldn't see anything. And by the way, even though you were drunk, you still managed to pull your robe on. Well then, Miss Shiverton, since we've already made that clear, we should get going. You and I have a lot to do today. In the beginning, Herman took Agatha to a store and bought her new clothes. Afterwards, he took her to a cosmetic store to match her new clothes with a suitable lipstick. When the shopping was over, Herman brought the girl to a cafe. "How did your parents react to you not being home tonight?" Herman asked. "Mom took it okay, but Dad got really upset when he realized I hadn't been home all night," Agatha said. "I can understand your father's feelings. You act rather reckless sometimes. I don't think you should go out alone. It would be good if you would start telling me your whereabouts," said Herman to the girl. "I know you're just taking care of your writer as a manager. It's part of your job. But if you keep doing this much for me, I'll feel indebted to you," Agatha admitted. "Do you really think I'd spend all day shopping with you and drinking sugary drinks I wouldn't even look at any other time, just for work? Do you really think I'm an incorrigible workaholic?" Herman asked resentfully. Miss Shiverton in a novel, when the usual male protagonist, who is not normally interested in anyone or anything, suddenly starts doing things he normally doesn't do. What could that mean? "That means this hero is in love," Agatha whispered. "Principal Gerbant, I thank you for giving me so many gifts today," said Agatha. Herman wanted to discuss with the girl the rest of their vacation, but suddenly her phone played. When Agatha picked up the phone, she heard Bert's excited voice. The guy hadn't been able to reach her for days, so he was extremely worried. "I went shopping today, and I'm on my way home now. Don't worry about me, I'm fine," said Agatha to her buddy. Suddenly, Herman leaned over Agatha and kissed her lips. A few days later, Agatha decided to choose a vacation spot. She was tired of working on her book, so she decided to travel a little, because there was nothing wrong with resting. Suddenly, the phone on the desk vibrated. It was Director Gerbant calling. "Are you awake? I thought I'd call to see how you were doing." "I've been up for a while now, as I have a lot to do today." Agatha didn't bother to tell Herman that she was choosing a place where she wanted to go with him to rest. "And I'm at the gym right now. A small window appeared, so I decided to take this chance. I'll have a lot to do soon, so you and I won't see each other much. As soon as I get a chance, I'll dial you right away." He spends his day off at the gym. He is really disciplined even when it comes to his body. The only thing is, I still can't understand why a man like that would get attached to me. Agatha thought to herself, what if he's only treating me well because I'm an inexperienced writer? If that's the case, our relationship will end when the project is finished. No, I shouldn't be filling my head with nonsense. Principal Gerbant has agreed to help me, so I should take advantage of this opportunity. Agatha exclaimed hotly and slapped her palm on the table. "Agatha, dear, please tell me, who are you in a relationship with? Where and with whom were you that night?" asked her mother, who entered the room. "When you didn't come home that day, I assumed you were staying the night at Bert's. I always knew you liked him. I think he's your first crush." "Admit it. You specifically invited him to our house for lunch. I want to tell you that Bert called you that day. He was very worried about you. I think he likes you too." A couple of days ago, Bert decided to dial Agatha to invite her for a walk. The girl answered him that she had spent the day shopping. Bert looked up from the phone and saw a white car in front of him. 2 people were sitting in it. The red-haired chimera girl he liked so much was kissing Principal Herbert passionately. As soon as Bert returned from the army, he met Ninelle in a bar. She was drunk and was cursing her boss a lot. "Since you talk about your boss like that, it means you've fallen in love with him," Bert muttered. He didn't like hearing a drunk woman's stories. He had just returned from the army and wanted to celebrate in silence. Ninelle didn't relent. She kept pestering Bert. "Would you like to date me?" Ninelle asked unexpectedly. "Why should I go out with someone I don't even know?" Bert wondered. "What's the difference? If we start dating, we'll get to know each other over time. Wouldn't it be better that when we break up, we don't have any extra baggage behind us? The less we know each other, the better," Ninelle said in a drunken voice. Bert didn't notice how he fell in love with Ninelle. This girl turned out to be perfect. But after a few months, Ninelle asked Bert not to call or write to her anymore. After a while, Bert learned that Ninelle had started dating her boss. When Bert first saw the red-haired girl, he immediately fell in love with her. She reminded him of Ninelle. Bert was also bought up by the fact that even though the girl didn't know him, she was concerned about him. The guy regretted that he still didn't recognize her number. Agatha was glad that Principal Herbert had managed to carve out time to have dinner with her. She put on her best dress and went to the restaurant. Leaving the office, Herman decided to go home first thing to change his clothes. He didn't want to go in his work clothes so it wouldn't look too formal. He didn't want Agatha to keep thinking that they were only meeting for business purposes. "I didn't expect to see you on this end of town," grumbled Herman. "Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't planning on tracking you down. It's just that I had an interview in your publisher's neighborhood. Since I met you after all, there's a matter I want to discuss with you," said Bert to Herman as he approached. "It's kind of hot today, don't you think? I was so hot in that suit I thought I was going to die. How can you wear those suits all the time? And drinking hot coffee, too?" Bert grumbled and loosened his tie. "Hurry up and tell me what you want. I'm a busy man and I don't have time to talk to you," Herman said in a displeased voice. "Oh, I'm sorry. I've been nervous all day about the interview, so I'm having a hard time pulling myself together." Sighing heavily, Bert said, "I have an appointment, so if you can, speak quickly." Once more, Herman asked, "You're probably going to see Agatha, aren't you? I heard from her mother recently that she's been out a lot lately. I remembered seeing you two together in a movie not too long ago, so I thought I'd ask." Leaning toward Herman, said Bert, "It looks like you two spend a lot of time together. Don't you think it's strange that a writer is dating his director? You don't have any bad intentions towards Agatha, do you?" "Agatha is the kind of person who writes from lived experience and real people. I'm just helping her with that. I hope you don't draw the wrong conclusions from this." Crossing his arms over his chest and said Herman, "I'm a little worried that Agatha might have made some kind of mistake. I've known her for a long time. She's pretty naive. By the way, did you know that Agatha hasn't spent the night at home recently?" Bert asked. "And why do you care so much about Agatha? You must be very close to her?" Herman inquired. "Our parents have been friends for years, so I've known Agatha since she was a little girl. I can't help but worry about her since I consider her practically my sister," Bert admitted. "The last time we met her was at the bookstore. I was wondering why you told me off that day. You're right. I've never read a book my friend wrote. I bought her book that day and just recently finished reading it. It's not really the type of book I like, but it turned out to be pretty good. What's particularly impressive is the main character's crush on her childhood friend." As I was reading her book, a lot of memories came to my mind. Agatha practically followed me around as a child. The events of the book are too similar to be mere coincidence. It even reliably describes who got what injuries and where. I've told you before that in her books, Agatha describes personal experiences. For example, when describing the new protagonist, she draws on my character. I don't see anything wrong with that. Shrugging his shoulders, Herman said, "And why did he decide to go to the office again? When people make a date, don't they meet at a prearranged place?" Agatha said, annoyed when she read the message from Herman. "I hope you told me everything you wanted to tell me. I really have to go. I don't want to be late. I realize you're worried about Agatha, but I think you should mind your own business," said Herman and got up from his seat. "You ignored her for so long, and now you pretend to care about her. Men like that aren't even popular in romance novels." Coming out of the cafe, Herman ran into Agatha. The girl did not expect to see him here, as she thought he was in the office. "I'll explain it all to you later when we order our food," said Herman to the girl. "So it's you he's meeting with?" Bert exclaimed in surprise as he came out of the cafe. "I want to thank you for giving me this tie," said Bert to the girl. Agatha hurriedly hid her face. She didn't wear a wig today and applied a minimum of makeup to her face. "This tie makes me feel confident in any interview." Herman took Agatha's hand and put it behind his back. "I don't know what happened between you two, but you should be more careful when you're talking to someone's girlfriend. You're being indecent," said Herman to Bert. "He called me his girlfriend? Different, we didn't agree to be considered partners. But on the other hand, it even makes me feel good that he called me his girlfriend." Agatha thought to herself, looking into Herman's face. "Come on, we need to hurry," said Herman and headed toward the restaurant. Wait, said Herman and grabbed Agatha's arm. The girl hurriedly pulled her hand out. I'm sorry, but as you may have noticed, my boyfriend doesn't like it. So if we meet again, please pretend you don't know about me. But I think we'd better not see you again. Agatha exclaimed and hurried after Herman. So what are you going to do now? You'll see me often in your house in the days to come. Herman thought to himself as he looked after the departing girl. Principal Garbant, wait for me. Do you know how hard it is to run in heels? Shouted Agatha in a panting voice. You are wearing a very nice dress today. I like it, said Herman to the girl. By the way, I remembered that you were wearing that same dress when I met you outside my office. I know you were out with your friend that day. Today, I was surprised to find out that you gave him a tie. Did you really meet by chance that day? Asked Herman. I told you before. I ran into him by chance at the cafe. If you want, I can even tell you why I gave him a tie. Agatha exclaimed hotly and grabbed Herman by his jacket. I accidentally pushed Bert and he spilled coffee all over himself. I gave him a tie I'd been carrying in my bag for a long time. Why were you carrying a man's tie in your bag? Isn't that what you wanted to give your friend? Don't you think you still have feelings for him? Herman asked in an annoyed voice. Despite the ruined evening, Herman and Agatha still decided to visit the restaurant. He hasn't said anything since we got here. What's he thinking about now? I must cheer him up somehow, or bring him up to speed on some topic. Agatha thought. Principal, do you like the way I've been dressing lately? The girl asked. Yes, I like your clothes, but I don't want you to worry about it, replied Herman to her. I know that whether I dress up or not is irrelevant. Did you know I try to look good to match you? When we spend time together, it makes me look better. Agatha exclaimed, and tears came to the girl's eyes. I'm sorry, I said a little too much. That dress really suits you. You look splendid in it. Herman covered the girl's palm with his hand. You don't need to dress up to fit me. I told you I like you in regular clothes. I mean, people are attracted to you and you can turn their heads pretty quickly. I want to confess that I'm worried that you might attract unwanted attention because you have a grown-up guy like me around. Herman muttered embarrassedly. I want to get the message across that you shouldn't step out of your comfort zone if you don't want to. When they left the restaurant, Herman took Agatha's hand. If you think about it that way, Principal Gearbant is strangely kind to me these days. He's not just attentive to me, he treats me as if we're in a serious relationship. I wonder if he only has this special treatment for me. Agatha wondered. I don't want this evening to end. I want to stay with you longer. I'd like to bring you to your place right now, but if I do, I don't think I can go to work tomorrow. Let's take a vacation together somewhere this weekend, Herman suggested. At another lunch, Agatha announced to Herman that she had found a place where they would spend their weekend. I know you're not very busy this week, so I did a little research myself. This one looks pretty good. If you don't mind, you and I could take a trip out of town. I liked a little village nearby. There's a hotel in that village. If we go there, we can see a lot of things. We will also take lots of steamy photos. I also like this village because it has a hot spring. After lunch, Agatha decided to walk around the city. Lately, her mother had been insisting that she start to get closer to Bert. For that reason, it was hard for Agatha to work at home. She needed to find a place where no one would bother her. Agatha decided to go to the bookstore and buy some books for inspiration. Oh, could you move over? Agatha heard a soft female voice beside her. Funny, didn't expect to meet you here, the brunette said with a hum. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure if you and I know each other, mumbled Agatha, looking at the girl. The brunette answered her that they had seen each other a while ago and her name was Ninnel. Right, I remember you, and you've changed a lot. You don't look like yourself, Agatha exclaimed. Can you imagine? Not too long ago, I made reading one of my many hobbies. By the way, I'm about to be interviewed by a publisher. I want to tell you that I read your book after all. I was curious to see what you wrote after all, Ninnel told me. Maybe you're still not aware of it, but I've decided not to have any more association with Bert. Instead of wasting my time with him, I've decided to focus on my career. All right, I gotta go. I hope to see you again. Know that I'm rooting for you. By the way, Did you know that of all the girls he knew, he only dated you and me? Agatha received a call from her mother, asking her to go to Bert's apartment and pick up the empty food containers. When the girl went to Bert's apartment, she saw that the door was unlocked. "Sorry, Mom told me to get her containers from you," shouted Agatha, entering the apartment. Walking deeper into the apartment, Agatha saw a half-naked Bert. He had probably just come out of the shower room. "This is the first time I've seen him up to his waist naked. Still, he looks great. Having a face and body like that isn't fair." Agatha's mind raced. "I'm sorry I scared you with my appearance," Bert said and hurried to put on his t-shirt. "Honestly, I think I was more shocked that you showered with the doors open," Agatha admitted. "I decided not to lock the door since I knew you'd be here soon. As for the containers, I'll wash them out now and give them to you. Just wait 1 minute," asked Bert of the girl. "Listen, it's great that you live alone. I think it's wonderful to be independent," Agatha exclaimed as she looked around Bert's apartment. "I didn't realize it when I lived with my parents. But you're right. Living alone is really comfortable. Have you ever thought about moving out from your parents?" Bert asked. "You know, I've never thought about it before, but looking at you, I'm seriously thinking about it. Maybe I should also try living alone. To be honest, I'm a little jealous of you right now," Agatha said with a smile. "If you want to move out from your parents, I can help you find a suitable place to live. Feel free to contact me for help," said Bert to the girl. "And I haven't told you about the most important advantage of living alone. I just realized it. But when you live alone, you don't have to worry about other people. You can be alone with yourself or someone you like." Bert looked carefully into the girl's eyes. Suddenly, Agatha's cell phone vibrated in her bag. The girl hurried to pick up the phone. "Hello, Principal Garbent. I can't talk to you right now as I'm a bit busy. When I decide on a place and book hotel rooms, I'll get back to you right away," said Agatha into the phone. After talking to Herman, Agatha hid the phone in her bag and turned to Bert. "I've decided to do some traveling this weekend, but it will be an incomplete vacation. I want to gain positive emotions on the trip to continue writing my book," Agatha told. "I take it you're going traveling with the director of your publishing company. You don't have to answer that question for me. I can tell by the look on your face that you are. Your face is completely red," said Bert to the girl. "We do go together, but that's only because he's helping me finish my book. He's advising me on how to better spell the main character. Also, being around him allows me to do some research." Embarrassed, Agatha admitted. "When Principal Gearbent is by my side, I get a lot of inspiration. Always when it's hard for me to go somewhere alone, he goes with me." "And why the hell are you turning to him for help? I told you you could always ask me to go with you," Bert said in an offended voice. "Why are you so eager to go out with me? Don't you have a lot of friends around you? Why don't you want to go out with them?" Agatha asked, surprised. I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I'm absolutely not popular. A lot of people have the wrong impression of me because they only judge me by my appearance. To be honest, I don't have many close friends," Bert admitted. "But I remember you had girls hanging around you all the time in high school," said Agatha. She didn't believe Bert's words. She knew that he had been very popular among his peers during his school days. It was unlikely that things had changed now. Maybe it was like that at school, but now all these girls have boyfriends. And when with my high school buddies we get together, we talk about all kinds of boring stuff. I guess I reached my limit in high school," said Bert and lowered his head low. Agatha remembered Ninnel's words. The girl was probably telling the truth. Bert really has big problems in his personal life. "Bert, don't be upset. I'm sure if you make an effort, you can turn this situation around." The girl rushed to comfort your buddy. "Look at me. I'm doing fine without friends, so don't get discouraged. Keep socializing with different people, and you're bound to find someone close to you. If there are places you can't go alone, you can always come with me. We single people should always stick together." "Listen, that's a great idea. How about this weekend?" There's this place that sells delicious desserts that I want to go to, but I haven't found a date yet, Bert exclaimed excitedly. I'm sorry, but it's not going to work out this weekend. I have plans, Agatha replied. Remember, if you need a prototype for your new book, you can use me. I mean, you used my character for your first novel. I think if you use me again, it won't be a big deal. Hearing Bert's words, Agatha recoiled from him fearfully. She was surprised that he had read her book and realized that the main character was a complete reflection of him. I didn't tell you, but I did read your book not too long ago. You used me as a prototype for the main character. I got it right, didn't I? When I read the book, memories from our childhood came to my mind. Bert continued talking. After I read it, I finally understood why you asked to familiarize yourself with it. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have even picked it up. I absolutely loathe the genre. But why didn't you tell me you used me as a prototype? I'm sorry. I should have warned you about that. I'll never do anything like that again. Frightened, Agatha exclaimed. She was afraid that Bert would be angry with her because of what she had done. Bert wrapped his arms gently around the girl's hands. If you'd said so earlier, you wouldn't have had to spend time with the likes of him, Bert said in a soft voice. When she got home, Agatha decided to get to work. Suddenly, she realized that she could no longer write anything. She went back to her conversation with Bert again and again. That's it. I'm at a dead end. I'm having a creative crisis. If I want to relax this weekend, I need to finish this manuscript in 2 days, exclaimed the girl. I've wanted Bert to read my book for a very long time, and it finally happened. The strange thing is that now I wasn't happy to hear it. In fact, instead of feeling happy, I feel relieved for some reason. At the moment, the person I want to think and write about is Principal Garbant. But this time, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to write about my feelings for him in the book. I'm going to say it in person. Herman decided to call Agatha to see how she was doing. He also wondered if the writing of the book was progressing. Listen, why does your voice sound so hoarse? Are you all right? Herman asked excitedly. I'm fine. I just didn't sleep last night. I was working on a book, Agatha admitted. If you're up at night, it means you're pressed for deadlines. If it's too hard for you, we can reschedule our trip. We'll go when you have more free time, Herman suggested. No, I'm totally fine. I'm going to finish everything and meet you this weekend no matter what, screamed the girl. She had already set herself up for this trip and didn't want to change a thing. Are you sure you can handle it at all? Remember, if you need to tell me something, we can talk to you about it any time. Don't hesitate to ask me for help, Herman said to the girl in a soft voice. Agatha was worried about her relationship with Bert, but at the moment she didn't want to talk about it with Herman. The girl didn't want to upset him. By the way, have you booked your hotel rooms yet? Herman asked the girl. No, I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I'll do it now, Agatha exclaimed and opened the hotel's website. Agatha glanced fearfully at the calendar. Today was Friday, not Thursday as she had thought. She'd been too busy the last few days, so she'd gotten confused about the dates. That's all right. I'll book hotel rooms quickly now and continue writing my book. I'm sure there are some vacancies left. Agatha began to reassure herself. What? How could this even happen? Why aren't there any seats left? What am I supposed to do now? Agatha stared fearfully at the laptop monitor. Suddenly, the girl realized that all her plans for this weekend were ruined. She was looking forward to spending these 2 days with Principal Garbant and finally telling him how she felt. What should she do now? How to fix this situation?